So,
okay, tell us more.
Well, it's the first time I've ever dipped my toe into that pool.
And how was it?
It was quite fun. Yeah. Not something I ever expected to experience in my life. But she was really sweet and sexy, affectionate.
Was she a good kisser?
Very good. Very good. Yeah.
Huh. I've never dipped my toe in that.
I never thought I would either.
Yeah.
But
did you give or receive or both?
Oh.
I asked the hard question.
Welcome to Secrets of a Sugar Daddy. Here's your host, Marcus.
Welcome to another episode of Secrets of a Sugar Daddy, the #1 sugar dating podcast in South Africa and the rest of the world, where we pull back the curtains on the good and the bad. And Lily?
Let me think about this one.
The shocking. You know it by now.
Is it the shocking?
It's shocking.
Okay, the shocking then.
The oh-so-shocking stories of sugar dating. How are you?
I'm just wonderful.
Another day, another dollar.
I almost grabbed one of those bottles of champagne out of the fridge and just started drinking straight out of the bottle.
Here at Pod Populi?
Yeah.
You should go grab one.
She said I could have some champagne.
Yeah?
And I said, can I have the whole bottle? Got a little family drama going on right now.
You do?
Yeah. My sister's a nightmare.
Yeah.
She's just a straight up nightmare.
Well, you're the older sister. Can't you impart some wisdom on her?
I do try.
Mm-hmm.
She self-sabotages constantly.
Yeah.
What do?
So
she's a grown-ass adult. She's got to figure it out.
Before we get to our guest, my buddy, who's been married 30 years, a friend of mine from the country club, I guess I won't say what profession it is because that would narrow him down a little bit too much, but he hasn't been in the dating world in 30 years. So he stops by my house on the way to go play golf the other day, and he tells me he's getting divorced. And he goes, yeah, and I'm on these apps, and I met this girl from, like, Denmark or something, or something, overseas.
Of course he did.
And I'm like, dude, there are plenty of fish here locally.
She wants to be a mail order bride.
He goes, but there's so many bots. There's so many robots. And I just know I'm talking to AI, and there's so many scammers. And so he tells me what apps he's on. He goes, what do you use? Oh, man, that opened up a door. And now he has seen over the years.
How old is this guy?
57.
Is he hot?
He looks very good for his age. He is not overweight. He's actually...
Does he look like Mario Lopez?
No, he doesn't look like Mario Lopez.
All right. I guess I'll stick with my trucker then.
No, you know who he reminds me of? Better Call Saul. He reminds me of Saul Goodman.
Bob Odenkirk.
Oh.
Bob Odenkirk.
I can't picture that guy.
Breaking
Googling
Bad.
it.
But anyway, he's got a lot of money. He's worth like 8 figures at least. And he would be a catch for somebody. So he has seen some of the quality women that I have dated. So anyway, he signed up for Seeking, and boy, did he have a lot of questions. He's
going to need our help.
Yeah, he's going to need our help. And I told him, I didn't tell him the name of the podcast yet, but I told him, well, this might surprise you, but I do have a podcast to get you through this. Because I was telling him about the secondary number. I was giving him advice on, how to screen them. And he was so full of questions. And yeah, we would probably go over a primer, but we have a guest today who's been in the sugar world for a while, a return guest, one of our favorite guests, podcast Fanboy. How are you?
I'm doing great, Marcus. Yourself?
Oh, always glad to have you in the studio. We always have a good time here. The show goes really quickly.
It does.
And I know you've been traveling a lot, and we caught you, I guess, in one of your rare appearances back in Arizona.
Well, I'm leaving again tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
Going to Barcelona for a week. So.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow. So we know you're in the undercover FBI. We've outed you on that. Or some kind of undercover operations where you travel the world, right? Right, Lily?
He's an undercover brother.
Something. So anyway, last time we talked to you, this is going to be a very interesting episode because I don't know where to go with this. But you and Katie had done a show together, and that one was really good. You listened to it?
Yes.
What'd you think of that show?
I thought it was great.
Yeah. It was so much fun. Lily didn't make that one because she had a little family emergency, but...
Well, and Katie and I have had a very good rapport too, so
Yeah.
it flowed easily.
So you threw the word had in there.
I did.
Yeah. So that blew up quickly.
It did, and I'm here to tell the tale and some lessons from it today.
Okay. And we all go through this. You know, anytime that you're not only sugar dating, but just regular dating, things can seem very inspiring and what's the word I'm looking for? Very hopeful that it's looking good. So Lily's over here playing on her phone trying to look up Bob Oden. What's his name?
Odenkirk.
Odenkirk.
He's all right.
Yeah.
He's not that hot.
Well, my friend's a little better looking than that, but he kind of reminds me of the whole thing.
Oh.
But anyway, looked very promising. That's the
did.
word I think I was looking for.
I thought it was.
And about 4 or 5 times during the episode, I kind of was like, wow, isn't this moving kind of quickly?
Indeed.
As us older folks often do.
You're just so intuitive, Marcus.
Well, no, I just, been around the block 3 or 4, 8 times.
It was, but it wasn't one way.
Yeah.
I was really mirroring what I was experiencing in that arrangement as well. So
Okay, so let's just kind of recount a little bit about what happened for our listeners who may not have heard that episode. Katie had been on our show. Podcast Fanboy reached out to her. They connected. They texted for a while. She spent a weekend, a holiday weekend in Montana with him. Things went fantastically. She came back out a few weeks later. We all had like a great weekend, triple date. She was on the show. Things were promising. They decided to go to plan a Christmas vacation together with her and her family and Podcast Fanboy. And where did it go from there?
slight modification to what you said. That Christmas trip was already planned.
Okay, right.
My kids were going. I decided to invite her.
Gotcha.
Before I get started on this, I want to reiterate that Katie is a great person.
Yeah.
I think she's fantastic.
And she still works for me.
I know.
She does a fantastic job.
I think I'm partly responsible for that.
Well, yeah, of course you are.
I encouraged her to reach out to you with that proposal.
Yeah.
You know.
It was one of the better proposals I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It was excellent.
But she's incredibly sweet.
Mm-hmm.
She's incredibly talented. She's beautiful. She's warm. All in all, a great person. But based on what she told me, I'm not sure that sugar dating is the right thing for her, at least the way we were doing it.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, things were going great. You know, we had that great time at the cabin. We had a great time in Phoenix. I even planned to go to her Midwestern state to meet her boys before the trip to France. So, you know, they'd know me and it wouldn't be awkward or anything. So I go on my trip to London, Poland, and Ukraine October 1st. And we're still in constant communication. And I'm sending her pictures. And then suddenly I don't hear from her for a while. And, you know, it was just odd. And I thought something was up. So I messaged her and I said, have you been getting these photos? And she said, oh, well, did you not get the email I sent you? And I said,
What email, Katie?
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Well, so I asked her to resend it.
Yeah.
And in that email, she basically told me that she felt things were moving too fast. Okay.
But she didn't feel that way when you guys made the plans.
I don't know what she was feeling, quite honestly. But
excitement, I think.
Yeah. But she told me that she changed her mind about going to France for Christmas. Some of the reasons she gave, I mean, she said she was overwhelmed with my generosity during the time we knew each other. But she was just really conflicted about taking her boys out of the country for Christmas. She's got 2 younger boys and then a boy who's in his mid-20s. But very importantly, and I think this is a key point, she was being questioned very hard back home by friends and family members who were looking at her social media posts from Montana and from Phoenix and saying, who are you doing this with?
I know.
How are you doing this? Who is this guy? And she didn't have a good answer for them because she had not let them know about the whole sugar dating.
That's the
thing.
difficult part of this is it's hard to disclose this to family and friends of, oh, I met a sugar daddy, even though they may really like him. And of course they do. They like you beyond just the generosity. There's obviously some chemistry there. But how do you explain it to all the friends and family that are, whoa, what's going on here?
I tried to make the case that it was easily explained and she didn't even have to use the term sugar dating, you know. But
Yeah, you don't have to disclose that.
I just think she wasn't comfortable with not being completely honest with them. I think that's her character. She is not deceptive in any way, which is a good feature to have. But in this case, I think a little bit of deception, or not even deception, but not stating the whole case would have served her well. There was one other thing that she mentioned in this email, and this was a really good point. She did say that she wanted to get married again, and she didn't want to leave her home state, okay? And she knew that would be problematic for us because I certainly wasn't moving there.
No.
So
Why not, pray tell?
it's a little slower pace than I like at this stage of my life, so.
A little colder environment. Yeah.
Exactly. And I got that, but I didn't think that meant, she couldn't continue the trip. But all these things together led her to decline after she had accepted. Now, this is lesson one that I want to share today, which is before you get into this lifestyle, think things through. Understand your own heart. Think of the ramifications of the people around you and whether or not you can keep it secret from them. And by no means get caught up in the glamour of it, if it does exist. And in our case, I think you can honestly say that it did.
Yeah.
And don't make that decision unless you truly know your heart. Okay? But here's the point that will lead to the second lesson, okay? When I made the offer for her to join me in France, I didn't pressure her into this decision whatsoever. In fact, quite the opposite. I was concerned with her being away from her boys, or her boys being away from her ex-husband, who she has a really good relationship with, who lives in that same small town, and that there were big ramifications from this, and that she needed to think it through carefully, and don't even consider it if there's any question in that regard. And honestly, I didn't expect her to say yes.
Yeah.
I was shocked when she came back to me and said that her ex at first was very reticent, but then he thought about it and he said, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for these boys and for you. I think you should go ahead and do it. So, she came back to me and said that they were in and they were really excited about it. And she also said, well, can I also bring my older son? And I said, by all means, I'll pay for all of you.
Wow, that's very, very generous of you.
And I even said, if your ex and his new girlfriend want to go, I'm not going to pay for them.
Right. But you've got the chateau.
We've got the room.
Yeah.
If it's something they'd be interested in. I like sharing things with people, and I like to have nice people around. And
it is an experience of a lifetime. And the more people you can share that with that you enjoy being around, it's very fulfilling.
Yeah. Well, then and only then, after I got the commitment, based on her supposedly carefully considering all these things, did I pull the trigger on those tickets.
Yeah. Which are very expensive.
It was after the fact. It was $7,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Round trip tickets for 4 to Europe.
Yeah.
And, I've been burned before, so I'm pretty cautious about buying tickets for somebody. But I felt so good about things and so confident that I purchased them gladly and didn't worry about it. And then I'm in London and I get this email, and it's not a week or two from the time I purchased those tickets, and I'm left holding the bag at this point. There's lesson number 2, and there will be opportunities for sugar daddies to invite the girls to go somewhere and the girls to be invited. It's standard airline policy that the tickets are not refunded to the person who bought them. They can only be used by the people whose names they are in. So as a recipient of something like that, don't make this commitment or don't make this promise unless you are truly committed and you've thought things through.
Yeah.
As a giver, this is a rough one for me because I've violated this multiple times myself. Unless you are mentally prepared to eat the entire amount, don't make the invitation. Because I was certain this case it was going to be fine, and I got burned.
Yeah.
So that's lesson number 2.
I've gotten burned too. I bought airline tickets and then she absolutely no-showed, ghosted me.
Yeah. Well, and I want to also be very clear that I'm not upset in the least that Katie made the decision not to go.
Yeah.
That's her prerogative, and she had reasons that were valid to her, and I respect that. But what was upsetting to me was the timing.
Yeah.
After I had asked her to think through these issues.
Gotcha.
And to be fair, I will weigh in on this because I know when you and I went to Europe, you asked me multiple times if I was certain that I wanted to go and there was no way I was going to back out. And even right before you bought the tickets, you said, I'm about to pull the trigger.
Right.
Are you 100%? Are you 1,000% in? Would there be anything that would prevent you from following through? So, I mean, I know you must have asked her several times.
I did. Thank you for saying that.
And Lily's like, oh no, I'm going.
I'm going.
Hell or high water, I am going.
Unless I'm dead, I'm going on that trip with you.
Yeah.
And it was a wonderful time. It really was.
It was. Now, in fairness to Katie in this case as well, though, I don't think she was aware that I couldn't get a refund for the tickets.
Maybe not.
Because we had a little back and forth, when I was like a little upset, a little shocked by it. And I said, well, just make sure you use these now because I don't want to give American Airlines free money for nothing.
Right.
And she said, well, we don't want the tickets, or anything. I said, well, don't take that approach because American Airlines is the only one that's going to benefit from that.
Yeah.
So
might as well use them. So,
but I do want you to know in person, Marcus, how much I appreciate you helping me recoup a small amount of that purchase with the way that was really big of you and the way you stepped up. It just made me feel good, and I really appreciate that.
So what he's talking about is, so now Katie's got these credits with American Airlines, and we're having a big party, which I'm very excited for, and hopefully you are too.
Oh, I am.
We were able to fly her down here using those credits, and we were going to pay for her airfare. So I just was able to forward that to you, which I was going to give to somebody. I'm glad I was able to give it to you.
Well, I appreciate it.
You've been a big supporter of the show, and you kind of got in that little bit of a predicament. And I know that amount of money means nothing to you, but the act, I do understand.
It was the gesture.
Yeah.
Because I was feeling pretty bummed about the whole thing. Again,
Sure.
not because of the decision, but because of the magnitude of the monetary loss in that case. Mm-hmm. And you stepping up just restored a little bit of my faith in humanity.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it.
Well, you're absolutely welcome. I'm glad it worked out. I'm glad it was an airline that worked out for both of us, that we could get her down here for the party. Now, is it going to be awkward at the party?
I hope not. It won't be awkward on my part.
Okay.
I'm not going to hang out and monopolize her in conversation the entire time. Actually, it's kind of nice. I'll feel free to mingle more.
Oh, yeah.
Than I would have,
And let me tell you, you're going to want to mingle more. Because
he's seen the lineup. I have the pictures of the girls who are coming, and
we had
it's quite the entourage.
We had so many great applicants. And again, I just want to tell everyone who applied, I really appreciate you sending in the application, the contest form, listening to the show. And if we did not choose you this time, we are going to put you in for the next one automatically. And then if we choose you for the next one and you can't make it, then we'll understand. But we want to let you know that you're not out of it just because you didn't get chosen this time.
Yeah, we wish we could invite everyone, but
oh my God, there's
just
many.
no way.
Yeah.
The suite only holds 22 people.
Yeah.
So we had to
I know.
be selective.
Yeah.
Well, and it's a nice itinerary that you have for the entire weekend. It's not just the one shot.
We've just kind of expanded it. Matter of fact, we're meeting later after the show with Vivian to plan the party because she's going to be our party planner, and we're going to meet over at my house to get everything coordinated there. So there's a lot of time and effort that we're really putting into this, and we've expanded it. Most people are coming in on Friday, even though the concert's not till Saturday, and we're going to have like a little get-together Friday night, nothing fancy. And then a little day trip, maybe to Old Town Scottsdale and some shopping mall if they want, Saturday morning, afternoon. And then, of course, the pre-party. Now, I'm a little worried about this pre-party. The reason being is I've seen Alejandra take some tequila shots, and she might not be walking by the time the concert starts. So we've got to remind everybody to
We're pacing ourselves.
pace themselves. Because
I've been practicing. I went to a really wonderful taco place the other night called the Taco Guild. Mm-hmm. Have you been there?
I have not.
Either of you?
Well, I have my favorite taco place.
Well, you're going to like Taco Guild, and
I'll have
here's
to try
why.
it.
It's in a beautiful old Methodist church,
Okay.
and they've converted it into a bar and restaurant, and everything is tequila this and tequila that.
Ooh.
So Trucker and I had a flight of tequila shots, and I had an espresso martini with tequila, and he had a margarita. And their tacos are wonderful. And their corn and flour tortillas are homemade.
Nice.
Yeah,
Well, we
it
are
was
going to have
so
to try
good.
it out.
Where is it?
It's kind of, we looked it up, Alejandra.
Oh, we'll find it.
Alejandra's such a good girl. She's over here studiously studying in the corner, listening to us. I'm sure she's not getting a lot of studying done because we're a big distraction, but
Well,
I think it's like Central Phoenix. I'm pretty sure.
our favorite taco place in East Valley is Backyard Taco,
Yes.
but it's Mormon owned, so there is no tequila.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
disappointing.
we love the tacos there. But I'll have to try this place. It sounds
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
We should all go sometime.
All right. So podcast Fanboy. Any more on that subject? I think
No, I think
that's pretty much where it is.
I think that's all there is to say.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to think that I'm really disturbed by Katie. I like her a lot.
Yeah.
She's a great person. She had her reasons. It was just, I think, out of maybe naivete or ignorance.
Well, in her defense, sugar dating is very new for her. It may or may not be for her and her family pressures and her friends' pressures. And she's a fabulous person. We all love her. It's just one of those things that went sideways, and we wanted to talk about it because it happens a lot. And, like I said, I've bought tickets for somebody, and then they just ghosted, no-showed at the airport.
Right.
And I had to eat those tickets. And I'm telling you, it wasn't even the fact that I ate the ticket so much as just the whole process of what happened. It just burnt me so bad.
It feels like rejection, doesn't it?
Yeah, it
is.
was tough.
Yeah.
And,
well, the last time I talked to Katie, because she was very conflicted about whether she should come to the party or not, 'cause she didn't want to make anyone uncomfortable. And so I had talked to Podcast Fanboy, and he was like, oh, no, I'm totally cool with her coming. It's fine. And I was relaying that information to her, and she said, I just got off of Seeking. I'm not even on there. I just don't think it was working out for me. Like, I just didn't really fit the lifestyle. And then I'm talking to Brian Howie yesterday, and he said, oh, I hear Katie's in the sugar lifestyle now. And I said, I don't think so. He's like, don't corrupt her. I'm all,
Corrupt her.
oh, let me tell you about little Miss Katie and the hot tub and the let's do some girl on girl action to get these men excited. Don't tell me I'm the corrupter.
Which we're still waiting on that, right? Podcast Fanboy.
Oh, goodness. You give her a little, what was she drinking? Dirty martinis.
Yes.
You give her some vodka and woo! Tequila, my clothes come off, but vodka makes her clothes come off.
And Brian Howie, you mentioned, he's the owner of Pod Populi, so just a reference there of who he is. But
yeah, he sent me a funny thing about sugar dating. He likes to mock the lifestyle.
well, he does a podcast about dating.
Yeah.
But so this is of great interest to him, actually. He would never go down this road, but he is sure interested in our podcast because he does listen to ours.
Oh, but he vehemently maintains that a sugar relationship is not a real relationship.
Really?
Yeah.
Alejandra, what would you say about that?
She doesn't have a microphone.
She doesn't have a
I bet
microphone.
she'd have a lot to say about that
And
if
she's
she
looking
had a
at me like,
microphone.
no, don't bring me into this.
Oh, if you want to weigh in, I'll hand you this
Well,
microphone. Brian Howie says a sugar relationship is not a real relationship. If you are receiving a monthly allowance, then that is not a real relationship. You're not in a real relationship. You're, I guess, basically paying someone to be your SO, your significant other.
Which is the furthest thing from the truth because you bribe them to go out with you initially. And as we have said 100 times, what, Lily? You can't buy chemistry.
You can't buy chemistry.
And many times these, the encounters, the dates or whatever, turn into relationships because you get to know each other and you're like, you know what? I really like this guy. Even though the financial part is great, I really like him as a person.
Exactly.
And if they don't like you as a person, there's only so much financial they can take before there's like, I don't care what he's offering me. I can't take this guy.
Oh, I was getting a monthly allowance of $6,000 and not having to do much time spending.
Yeah.
And I severed that because the guy didn't uplift me.
Yeah.
He did not
wasn't worth it.
do one thing for my self-esteem.
Right.
He was kind of bringing me down. And I just said, I can't take any more of the criticism. So no amount of money's worth that.
Yeah, I mean, Alejandra and I are now in our, 16th month, and she still receives her allowance. but it's gone way beyond that now. I mean, we are exclusive boyfriend, girlfriend, met the parents.
We're in love.
The whole bit. Yep.
I think I might need that because my budget is getting really stretched. Right now.
Oh, she stretched my budget. Did you hear how
Yes,
she
I heard
negotiated that thing?
She's a smart girl.
Hey, since you're not going out with other girls now, you have some extra money for me. And since I'm not going out with other guys now, I need the extra money. So,
Well, this last trip allowed me the opportunity to dip my toe into the international sugar dating
yeah.
pool.
So you went where?
Well, I flew to London for a specific reason, and then to Warsaw and Ukraine, Lviv, Ukraine. For
The specific reason being the government undercover FBI shit that
Yes.
you do.
Well, okay, here's the cover for the cover. Okay, so I'm a big supporter of Ukrainians in their war against the Russian invaders, and follow a lot of Reddit forums on the subject.
Okay.
And through that, over many months, I struck up nice online relationships, just conversational relationships with people that were Ukrainian or affected by that in some way. And I felt the really sincere desire to help however I could.
And these are conversations you've had all in English?
Yeah, the translating stuff is really easy if you're messaging. Now, in person, it's not always so easy.
Right.
But I went to London first because I wanted to meet with somebody who was really in the business of relocating Ukrainian refugees. So I did some online research, and I found this woman who started a charity in the UK called UKUAtogether.com. And their purpose is to find sponsors for Ukrainian refugees in the UK. So I started messaging her, said, hey, I'd like to pick your brain. I'm going to be in London this time. I'd just like to sit down with you and find out what are some of the factors to consider before you get into this. And so I invited her to dinner. You know, she kind of gave me the down low, and we hit it off really well. In fact, we went out 4 times while I was in London. Every free night or day that I had, actually. She's an amazing woman.
Is she single?
She is single.
Is she age appropriate?
Pretty much.
How old is she?
Much.
She's 39.
Oh, that's
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. She was living in London at the time of the invasion, but she is a very successful fashion designer, Italian leather handbags and shoes. Before the war, she was an apartment developer outside of Kiev. Mm-hmm. All the apartment stuff got destroyed in the early days of the Russian invasion when they were really close to Kiev and were finally repelled. But she lost that business completely. She started this charity. She started a blog. She's now the #1 Ukrainian blogger in the UK. She's got a pretty big following online. You know, she's beautiful and she speaks 5 languages, by the way.
Wow.
Fluently. She's not stumbling on words in any of them. And
that's impressive.
Yeah, it was very impressive. Blew me away. But I found out, and I was shocked by this, she's on Seeking.
Really?
Yes.
How did you find this out?
She told me.
Wow.
She told me we were kind of talking about, you know, how you meet people and this and that. And she was right up front about it.
And you were like, really?
That's exactly.
Did you say, what's seeking? Tell me more about this seeking.
I could have played dumb, I guess, but I saw that as an opening to maybe strike an intercontinental arrangement. And so we did. And, you know, she's getting a monthly now. Okay, it's a twofold purpose of this. One is her portion of it. But the other thing was really important to me as well. And I was going to look into this and just kind of stumbled into it with her. She has a way to funnel money to purchase things that soldiers on the front line in Ukraine need, primarily night vision goggles and small drones. And, you know, with as much Western aid as has been pouring in there, you'd think, don't they have enough already? Well, that mainly goes to rockets and missiles and tanks.
Those are very expensive.
And all the big stuff. The families of these soldiers on the front line are desperate for them to get those items. So part of the monthly that I send her every month is dedicated to her, and part is dedicated to that.
Okay.
And so that's why I'm going to Barcelona tomorrow. I'm going to spend a week with her there, and we're going to do a little business there too. That kind of business, not her handbag business or anything.
That's fine.
We know what you mean by business. You're going to be doing business.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. We haven't done any of that so far. So
okay.
And it's
what's taking you so long?
Well,
He's working into it. You don't want to rush a good thing.
I'm just harassing you.
No, but you're exactly right. And I'm hoping maybe that it changes in Barcelona. Mm-hmm. But then she is coming to the chalet.
Really?
In France, yes.
Oh, good.
Cool.
And that's a easy, cheap ticket. It's not like flying from the U.S.
Yeah, that's right there.
And so that'll be cool. January, she's got to spend in Ukraine taking care of some stuff. But I think February, I'm going to get her to Phoenix for as long as I can get her to stay. Mm-hmm. And then in the spring, March or April, we're going to go to Ukraine together and do some stuff there. So
Okay. Wow.
So it's one of those things where I would really like to see something come out of this. Intercontinental relationships or something I've never dipped my toe in.
Man, that's tough.
That can be a challenge, I imagine.
Just even cross city, like if I was trying to date somebody in Tucson, which is 100 miles away, that would be difficult.
Well, and the thing is she's got a fabulous lifestyle in London. She's got a lot of very wealthy friends or women that are with very wealthy men. And the good thing, though, is her best friend is actually an American, and she is with an older British guy who's a real estate developer there, and he's older than I am, and she's about his age, I think. So, she sees that age gap thing working in real life, and they're tied. I don't think it started as a sugar dating thing, but it is definitely. I mean, he's taken really good care of her, and so she has seen that, and she wants to move very slow, as do I. I've kind of learned my lesson there.
Have you, sir?
Yeah, I have. Because she was actually dating and close to getting engaged with an American before, and he moved her to Chicago and then kind of abandoned her. It was really kind of a sad story, and it sounded miserable. She finally got out of that and moved back to London, and she just got out of that early this summer, so it hasn't been that long. Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to give her as much time as she needs and see what happens. And it's meeting, a couple of objectives that I have in life. And so, even if nothing develops on the sugar end of it, the other side would be very fulfilling, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so after London, you went where? Ukraine?
I went to Warsaw, Poland.
And did you do any sugar dating there?
I did.
How was that?
I actually did in London, too, though.
Oh, okay.
And in fact, I've got one really interesting thing I have to tell you, but I'll save that for the end.
Okay.
But I met two girls in London. One was from Newcastle, and you probably are aware that people in different parts of the UK have different accents, right?
Yes.
Boy, the Newcastle accent, holy cow! I had a hard time understanding her.
Yeah.
I had to ask her to repeat things so many times during the course of that conversation, but she was drop dead gorgeous and really nice. I mean, genuinely nice.
And you met her on Seeking?
I met her on Seeking.
How old was she?
She was in her 30s. Mm-hmm. See, what I did, I wanted to have some companionship while I was on this trip when I wasn't, taking care of business. And so I reached out to several girls in London and several in Warsaw. And the ones I ended up seeing were the ones that, we connected with and had some conversations with ahead of time. But the one from Newcastle was just a doll, and we spent a very long day and night together. And then I met another young woman. Now, she was younger. Okay, she was like 20, all right?
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Remind us how old you are, podcast fanboy.
I think there's a couple sixes in there.
Yeah, double sixes, that's right.
That's right.
Well, I wasn't going to marry her, but...
Oh, I know.
Guy can have his fun, right?
She was new to London. She was from Manchester, and she's a student in London. She'd only been there for a short while, so she actually went with me on a tour, a really comprehensive tour of London, and she enjoyed that immensely, and we had a great time. And I'm going to come back to her, though, at the end. But then I went to Warsaw, and I met with 3 women.
They all spoke English?
Okay, the first one did not speak it so well. She was a Ukrainian girl living in Warsaw, and there's a lot of Ukrainian refugees in Warsaw. Poland took the bulk of the initial flood of refugees when the war first started, so they're all over the place there. She was drop dead gorgeous. I mean, Ukrainian women are reputed to be the most beautiful women in the world, and I wouldn't challenge that. It's very impressive. But we had a great time, and then I met another student there in Warsaw who was from Belarus.
Oh, okay.
We just had lunch. That was all we did. She wanted to go out again, as did I, but I just didn't have time at that point because I was going to Ukraine shortly after that. But she speaks 7 languages. countries.
Wow.
I mean, if you want to feel inadequate and, pretty dumb, just meet some of these women sometime.
I feel inadequate just knowing that there's people out there that can do that.
And that doesn't count sign language. She knows basic sign language also.
Well, I've told the joke that my professor had on his door. He was from France. And he says, what do you call a person that knows 2 languages? It says bilingual. What do you call a person that knows 3 languages? Trilingual. What do you call a person that knows 1 language?
American.
Mm-hmm.
We're just not. I mean, you get the border states where they know Spanish and English, or there's just not a lot of bilingual people here
It's
compared to the other countries.
Yeah.
So with the first girl, did you have to really rely on like Google Translate or something?
Yes. And,
That's tough.
Not Google Translate. There's actual, and I don't know if Google Translate does this now too, but there's several audio translation apps where you speak into it and then it speaks back out. Yeah, it's still a little awkward.
Yeah, I've seen that on like the 90 Day Fiancé show where they're going to meet people in other countries. Yeah.
Well, it was a lifesaver, but it's also limited because you can only say short phrases or the thing gets confused. And if you try to speak, a paragraph, it's only going to pick up the first sentence or 2.
Yep.
So it's very awkward, but we got by. We communicated enough.
Well, I dated long before I even got married. I dated a girl that knew no English. She was from Mexico, and my Spanish was very limited at the time. It was tough. It was very frustrating. We could get through normal, like, dinner and things like that, but I couldn't really have conversations about deeper things.
Right.
And it's just, that's tough because I wanted to get deeper into the conversation.
Yeah. Fortunately, obviously the 2 Brits spoke fine English, although the from Newcastle was a little hard to understand.
Yeah.
But all the other ones are really good English. Then the third girl I saw in Warsaw was actually from Morocco.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She was exotic.
Yeah, was she dark skinned?
Not dark, but maybe just a little darker than
Alejandra.
Okay. Yeah. So very beautiful, very hungry. I'll put it that way. So
Very what?
hungry.
Like physically hungry?
Yeah.
Sexual appetite,
Or like
voracious.
I think
hungry for what?
I think Lily is on the right path.
Oh, okay. All right.
So
We're all naturally hungry.
You're thirsty, sir.
Okay. This one had a little bit of an appetite, is what you're saying.
She did. And she was my first Moroccan. Very nice person. I actually thought that would actually have some legs as well. But, after we parted, she hasn't been very communicative. I've been in communication with all the other ones since, but I'm not going to do any kind of allowances with the other one, just the Ukrainian woman from London.
Well, it seems to, as time goes on in the distance, it seems to fade because,
Right.
it's hard to keep it up.
It's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
And financial commitment to do that is just not going to work unless you're really into it. And I am with this first one. So,
Yeah?
yeah.
Are we coming back to her now?
We will. And then I went into Ukraine, and that was a life-changing experience. It was really fantastic. And I met 2 of the families that I was going to help relocate. I met in Warsaw. One I had to bring down from Kiev. The other one was already there. But there was one family that didn't even have passports to get to Poland. So I had to go to Ukraine to meet with them.
Forgive me for being naive, but there's a war going on. Was this not a little bit risky, a little bit tense?
I don't have a death wish, if that's what you're getting.
Yeah.
No. It's in the back of your mind, but where I went is a long way from the front. It's in western Ukraine, and most of the fighting is in the east. Now, they do get missile attacks from time to time. Like in Kiev, they get hit all the time. Lviv, the last time they were hit was late August, and I was there in mid-October. So it was like 6 weeks since they'd had anything happen there. So walking around the city, you would never know there's a war going on.
Yeah.
The people are so resilient and just determined to lead a normal life. It was inspirational, quite honestly.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah. But let me tell you about the young student from Manchester in London. We had...
This is the one with the difficult accent?
No, that's
the one, Newcastle.
That's the one from Newcastle.
Oh, Newcastle.
She's the older one. This is the younger student, okay?
The 20-year-old.
20-year-old. We had some really good conversations leading up to the trip, and she was beautiful. Her pictures were stunning, and she had a playful, fun side about her, and she was definitely insinuating that there'd be, some fun times after dinner and all that. And sounds great to me, And I've got to grab my phone here real quick because I got to show Marcus some.
Oh, you're going to show us all.
Well, yes, I will. I will. You know, I'm getting close to the trip, right? And in fact, yeah, it was actually before I got on the plane to London, like the day before. And I'm meeting her fairly early, like right after the first day I met Alina for dinner that night. And she says, oh, there's something I need to tell you before you come. And I said, oh, what's that? She said, well, I'm trans.
What?
Oh, this is getting juicy.
Yeah. I literally laughed out loud, and I even messaged back, oh, good one. You really got me there, you know. She said, no, I'm serious.
Okay.
I said, you can't be serious. She said, well, I am. Is that going to be a problem for you? And I said, well, never thought about it before. It's not been something I've actively sought out, but no, I'd like to meet you. You know, I mean, my curiosity was really piqued at this point because I can't imagine.
Now, had she transitioned yet? Had she fully transitioned?
No, not fully. But there's 3 pictures.
So she still had
You can swipe
a
left.
member,
Yes.
You're kidding me.
a functional member?
Tell me if you would have thought.
No, that's one of the hottest girls. There's no way. Are you serious? I mean, obviously she has fake breasts.
Right. 100% serious.
Look at this, Alejandra. Swing through those photos. That's one of the most beautiful trans girls I've seen.
That's what I thought.
I could see where you would like, you know what? I'd love to meet you. Yeah. She looks very petite.
Yes. And she's the one that went on the
How tall was she?
5'4", maybe?
Yeah, 5'4".
Yeah. Maybe 5'5".
Yeah. Why wouldn't you believe it?
And she was so nice. We had a great time during the tour.
What do you think, Lily? Lily's scrolling through the
there's
pictures.
a bikini picture, and I'm trying to look very closely.
Trust me, I blew that up too.
It's tucked somehow.
It's very well tucked.
She's got an amazing bikini. I know. Yeah. You would never know.
You would never know.
That's unbelievable.
She's stunning.
So,
okay, tell us more.
Well, it's the first time I've ever dipped my toe into that pool.
And how was it?
It was quite fun. Yeah. Not something I ever expected to experience in my life. But she was really sweet and sexy, affectionate.
Was she a good kisser?
Very good. Very good. Yeah.
Huh. I've never dipped my toe in that.
I never thought I would either.
Yeah.
But
did you give or receive or both?
Oh.
I asked the hard questions
She only
here.
received.
Okay.
She only received.
Wow. Have you ever seen a guy go that shade of red?
I love it.
It's the shade of red of our logo.
I can feel my cheeks getting really hot right now. But you see, that's why I came armed with her photos.
Because you're like, look, you would too. Yeah. Look at this. You would
so
too.
Would.
That's exactly. And Lily knows one of my mottos is I try not to be judgmental about anything. Mm-hmm. But it's hard when you're confronted with something like that. And so I had to really work not to be judgmental and to say, I think I'll pass now.
I mean, did you feel like you were sitting there with a woman the entire time?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. It didn't feel weird or awkward at all.
Yeah.
Did she have a deep voice?
No, it wasn't. She's done all the hormone treatments and since she was like 12 years old, I think.
Is she planning to fully transition?
Yes. She's trying to save money for that right now. And it's very expensive.
And she's 20?
Yeah.
Wow.
You know who's going to want to meet her?
Yeah.
Jay. Yeah, he would love to meet her. And he travels all the time.
Right.
He might be perfect for her.
Yeah, because his first sugar baby was trans.
I know. I just listened to that.
Yeah,
episode.
that was a very interesting revelation.
Well, and he really wanted to meet the trans who had been on our show after listening to her episode, but we couldn't track her down.
Yeah, we had one on our show. And again, she was as feminine as they come. Mm-hmm. She was petite, like 5'6" or so. And you would just never know.
If you're out there listening, get in contact with us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you remember her name?
Rose, I think it was.
Where are you, Rose?
I think, something like that.
You know, the petiteness is what's kind of shocking because, I mean, even a small guy doesn't seem petite.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I guess the hormone treatments and stuff over time help keep you from developing guy bones and muscles. I don't know.
Well, Alejandra and I were working out the other day, and there was this girl in our group workout. And when I walked by her, I noticed she was taller than me, and I'm thinking, wow, that's a tall girl. And then as she was working out, I noticed an Adam's apple. I'll tell you what, I would have never suspected it until I walked by and thinking, wow, she's got big hands. She just wasn't small. She wasn't petite and little like that. And so that's kind of why I started getting really curious, like, wow, that girl is really tall. And then she was very thin, but she still had an Adam's apple, which gave it away. And then I told Alejandra, I go, hey, that's a guy.
Yeah, even stubble, at her age,
Yeah.
I mean, a guy that age would develop some stubble.
Right,
We were
right.
together all day.
Yeah.
So she didn't have time to go shave at 5.
Yeah.
It was smooth the whole time. So I don't know how they do that, but it was impressive.
Well, with the hormone treatments, it kind of, I guess. I don't know. I don't know that much about that
Well, there's
world.
also like permanent hair removal stuff
That's
you can
true.
do.
That's true.
I'd like to look into that. Get
you have some hair you don't want
unwanted hairy armpits and whatnot.
and whatnot. So that was your first time and you enjoyed it?
Yeah, it'll be the last. I mean, no judgment there, but I'm not going to seek that out.
Right.
So
it was just more of a curiosity of like, how can you be that good looking and still be
That's really what it
a
was.
male? Yeah. I could see myself being that curious too because, wow. I mean, you walk around with her anywhere you go and everybody's going to be going, that is one hot girl.
Oh, she's a head turner.
Yes.
Oh, the nice thing was, too, she left her watch in my room, so I had to meet up with her.
Was that on purpose? Because sometimes they do that on
I
purpose.
know.
That's called Cinderella-ing.
Yeah, you leave something behind.
I don't think it was. Actually, what she'd done, she'd left it on a pile of towels, and the maids picked it up.
Oh,
and so I had to actually hunt it down and get it from security and everything. But she was happy to have it back. It was just nice to see her, out, I think Trafalgar Square is where we met. So.
What an interesting twist to that story. I was not expecting that podcast, Fanboy.
I didn't think you would. So.
Wow. You said, I've got a story for you. And that was a story.
Yup.
All right. Can you believe it's already at the end of the show?
No.
I looked up. I just looked at my watch and I'm like, holy cow. We're
Too
right
much
at the
fun.
end.
Our time is up.
Yeah.
You should record some stuff from the party.
No, we are. We're going to. We're,
Full intention.
yeah, we already have plans. I've got some external mics that I bought.
They're going to loan us
And-
a soundboard.
And maybe, we're going to try to get a
Really?
soundboard down there
I
too.
think
yeah.
so.
How nice. That could be cool. A little bit of candid noise from the show.
Yeah. Yep. Maybe put those in some extra sugars or something. I don't know. We'll figure out something. But definitely we're going to get some sound bites from the party. And
Of course, by the time y'all hear this, the party has already happened.
Yeah,
And
true.
hopefully we're all still living
right?
and nobody gets alcohol poisoning.
All right. Well, podcast Fanboy, thank you for coming on and sharing this. I know we got into some touchy subjects, but I think it kind of needed to be brought up and talked about because it happens.
It does.
And there's lessons to be learned.
On both sides, really.
You're in your mid 60s and we're still learning lessons.
Absolutely.
And I get it. It happens. And if there's anybody out there that we can help, then it's worth talking about.
Indeed.
Hey, if you want to share your crazy sugar dating stories like podcast Fanboy just did, go to our website at secretsofasugardaddy.com. You can fill out the form there or email us at sosdpodcast@gmail.com. We love getting your stories. We do read them. I'll tell you what, though. If you really want to get our attention, follow us on Instagram and message us there. We get those instantly. They bing both Lily's phone and my phone. You get them, right, Lily?
I do.
Ding.
It doesn't make a noise on my phone. I have it silenced, but I check it very regularly.
Yeah, well, it buzzes my phone, and I look down, and I'm like, oh, here's another great story. I love those. If we have time, we'll answer it, but I definitely share it with the group and say, oh, my God, look at this one. So we do look at those, and we do respond to a lot of them. Actually, most of them. Go to Instagram, follow us there. Oh, one last thing. At the bottom of our website, secretsofsugardaddy.com, you'll find a link to OMG Yes, on how to pleasure a woman properly. So we encourage you to go down there so I can and buy the program. You'll love it, and then I'll make like $15, and we can add it to the pool, our party pool, or something like that.
We'll buy a Scottsdale coffee.
Yeah, I would recommend that even if I didn't make a dime because it's definitely worth it, and the women will appreciate you. All right, Lily, thank you.
Ta-ta.
Podcast Fanboy, we'll see
you
you.
later.
We'll see you at the party.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
All right, until next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us. If you'd like to connect or even be on the show, we'd love to hear from you at secretsofasugardaddy.com.